Good morning, everyone. It's Roger Glenn with Poss Realty again. Laura and I are here with Mr. Scott Poss, who's the managing broker of Poss Realty. It's located at 809 Highway 441 South, which if you're traveling up from Atlanta, you can't miss because it's on the east side of the highway just as you come into town. So Scott, thank you for taking a couple minutes to get together with us.
My pleasure. Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Can you just tell everyone a little bit about your personal history and that of your family with real estate and kind of how you got into the real estate business?
Sure. I kind of grew up in the real estate business around the breakfast table, the dinner table, about all I've ever been exposed to. But back when I was a child, my parents would come to Rabun County to camp at Rabun Beach, Black Rock State Park. I have still some memories of those times and those campgrounds.
Yeah.
And my father was in real estate in Athens, Georgia at the time. That's where he was born and where I was born. And I attended elementary school actually in Madison County, right outside of Athens. But that's where our family was at. And some folks from the community out in Madison County would come up and have a little caravan of their little zipper trailers, and first started in started in tents, and then came in zipper trailers. And but as we would go home, seemed like on Sunday evening or after the weekend at the Rabun Beach campground, as my mother looked out as we drove by, my father reminded me of this over and over again, that she would say, "One day I'd like to have one of those boathouses on that lake." And it's just fantastic. Of course, she didn't know that you had to have a house to go with it. Or a lot of the boathouse just wasn't by itself. Anyway, but in the mid-'60s, they bought a lot on Lake Rabun and built a cabin, and it was a weekend getaway. Wasn't insulated, had some baseboard heat in it, I think, but it was a nice cabin to get away. Summer of '68, my father told the guys in the office in Athens, he said, "I'm going to the lake this summer. I'm going to stay all summer. And if I can sell 2 or 3 pieces of property, I'm not coming back." Well, he did go back. He did sell a few properties, but he did go back that winter. The winter of '68 sold out to the other guys in the office, and we moved here the summer of '69. And actually, I was in a Boy Scout troop down around Madison County, and our troop would come to Rainy Mountain Scout Camp here in Rabun County. So the first week of us living in Rabun County, really, I lived at Camp Rainy Mountain. And then we went to the house. I mean, my parents were at the house. I was at Camp Rainy Mountain. And so that was our, moving in summer of '69. So my father had already, actually the year leading up to it, throughout that winter, been trying to develop some business in the mountain area and started working at it from '68 on up here. And then, of course, moved the whole business up here in '69. And it just took off from there. Of course, I finished high school, and I helped him in the summers around the business. One of the first things I could do when I got a driver's license was go out to where the for sale signs were on the side of the road, and a lot of roads were dirt too. And I would sling blade. No such thing as weed eaters back then. I would sling blade around the signs so that you could see the signs, because things would grow up. And I remember specifically going in for the first time to Tate City, when I was probably 16 and a half, and like, where am I at, and sling blading around a sign in Tate City. So, but that taught me the county. I learned the county that way, having to go all over the place, take directions, and, find these signs out in places. Then he, you'd have to, in those days, you could not look up records online, no computers, obviously. So when you had to get a deed, you'd go to the courthouse and look up the deed, plat, and everything. So that's something I could do also, just as a helper. I could go look up plats and deeds. So I learned how to do that at the courthouse. And then I decided to, I actually was planning on maybe studying architecture. My mother drew a lot of home plans. She's an artist, and painted from her youth, and a lot of art. She's got limited edition prints, and a lot of people have seen. She had an art gallery in town. But anyway, she would draw house plans and building plans too. So I really loved watching her draw, and Daddy had a good eye for design, and he drew on the napkin, He designed a lot of things on a napkin, and just doodling, So I really had planned to study architecture, and then one of the coaches in high school kind of influenced me some, and I decided to try real estate. And but I was going to the university, and the coach and my dad said, well, you know, maybe you ought to get a license and try it first, and then see if you really want to stay in it. So I did. I got my license in the summer of '75, and got into real estate and just never did anything else. Got my broker's license in '78. Of course, my father ran the business, worked, 50 years here, almost 50 years in Rabun County, actually, before he passed in '17. But anyway, so then I've been the managing broker since. But he was active, right all the way until his 2 weeks before he passed away.
Yeah.
And so left us a good legacy, and he loved the business and loved the people here in Rabun County. That's the one thing that he would point out. Said, of course, the mountains are beautiful. It's a great place to be, but it's the people that make the difference in Rabun County. So that's kind of how we got here, is through camping and around Lake Rabun, and then evolved from there into me being in the business and staying in the business.
Yeah, that's probably a pretty common story. Switching gears for a minute, a lot of people know Scott Poss, the real estate legend in Rabun County, but they also know the photographer. Can you tell us a little bit about how you got into photography? And by the way, for those of you watching, some of the beautiful photographs that you see on the wall were shot by Scott.
Yeah. Probably influenced again by my mother and her taking a lot of photographs. Even my grandmother loved to take a lot of photographs. She traveled, and she was a great. Was great at documenting everywhere they went in writing. A lot of older people, I think, used to do that. Write diaries of every day of their travels, and took pictures and that kind of thing. My mother took a lot of pictures, and for her painting, she would take pictures of scenery and then set a painting there and just paint the painting based on looking at the picture. Did a lot of those that way. But anyway, in high school, I had been taking a few. I still have a great friend who's professional photographer. He does computer work now. Scott Roberge, and he was great photographer, and he was doing this in high school. He and I were photographers for the high school yearbook. And he took about 98% of the pictures. I took one or two, and most of mine didn't come out in the darkroom, But anyway, he was a big influence on me, and I learned a lot from him. But I continued and enjoyed taking pictures, just of the scenery, and we had a need to take pictures in real estate. So I think that we had to take pictures of everything we advertised. My father did that, and I'd had to do that. And so as you get to take pictures of these beautiful places, you just kind of enjoy photography at the same time. But I was fortunate to be able to get my pilot's license when I was 17. And so we began to fly around the county and take pictures from the air of the scenery. And actually, Scott Roberge went with me. I've got a print out there at that lake office, a black and white of Lake Rabun we took around 1977.
Wow.
Not near as many houses on it, but it's all black and white. So we took a lot of pictures by air. But what I realized over time in talking to different people who would come through here, or we would run into when we were traveling, and we'd say we're from Georgia, and they thought Georgia was what they saw on the road, either on I-75 going north up into Tennessee and through that area of Georgia, or on I-85. And a lot of times they thought that all of Georgia looked like middle Georgia, and they didn't realize Georgia had mountains. And they thought that they had to go to North Carolina to get into the mountains. So that's really one of my main purposes for photography or aerial photography of the mountains, is to get those out so people understand that fantastic mountains here in northeast Georgia. And actually, Rabun County has, as I understand, the highest number of acres of any of national forest of any county in Georgia. And so we got this huge national forest, got all the Georgia Power Lakes, some fantastic things to show. And so that gives me a great subject matter and a reason to have that subject matter. So I really just enjoyed it and showed it. I'm an enthusiast in that category of photographer. I'm not a professional, definitely not. I'm always trying to learn from other people, but just love them. I delete a lot of them to get a few good ones.
I think you're being professionally modest.
No.
But like they always say, a picture says 1,000 words.
Yeah.
And for those of you that are watching this video on Park Bench, the photographs, some of the photographs that you see on the Rabun County page are Scott's photographs that he took from while flying around Rabun County. So you've done a good job. Back to real estate for just a minute. How many real estate agents or associate brokers do you have now that work for you?
We've got 42 here.
And can you, a couple of the folks that would be your superstars, so to speak, tell us a little bit about how long they've been doing real estate and how well they know Rabun County.
Well, I don't know if we got a long enough video for that, but I'm just blessed to be surrounded by such a great group of people. That's what makes our company. We're family-like. That's what my father wanted to promote, is a family-like business, even though we're not all kin to each other, but we just get along like family and help each other and support each other. And we've got some folks in here. We have people in here that have been here a long time, 20, 25 years with us. I mean, you really feel closeness, and they're just great professionals, do the best they can, work hard, hire high principals. They're smart. I learn a lot from them. A couple of smart people. I think Henry Ford might have been one that said it, and also maybe Howard Hughes might have said that they weren't so smart, but they surrounded themselves with smart people, and I've certainly fallen into that category. I'm surrounded by a lot of smart people here, and I appreciate that. But you've got some of the long-termers, I don't want to leave anybody out, but Marcia Ramey's been in a long time. Rory Thompson, a long time. She started with me in 83 or so, and had another franchise for a while, but we're all together now. Just done a great job promoting real estate in Rabun County. Sam's been in a long time, Sam Rumsey. We graduated high school together. His dad was my government teacher and coach, and he even had his license with us too, and he worked here with us in the summers. A lot of great coach stories. And then Jim Blaylock, he is the grand man of real estate in Rabun County. He knows it, and he's an encyclopedia of Rabun County. If it's happened, he knows about it in Rabun County, and we're blessed to have him here. Gail and Rodney Hopper, been in a long time. Just a great team there. Know tons of people. Know the land as well. Susan Rickman's been in a long time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to leave anybody out, but we've got just a lot of folks here that have been in it a long time.
And I would say done a great job at building a culture of teamwork.
Yeah.
Of course, we know Gail and Rodney because they helped us buy our home in Persimmon, a little bit over a year ago.
Yeah.
But
and Sky Valley, let me mention too. We have the Sky Valley. We have this office on 441 here in Clayton. We have a Sky Valley office just as you go into Sky Valley, and we have a little depot or outpost, we call it, on Burton. Linda Durrance been with us up there at Sky Valley for decades, and certainly a centerpiece of Sky Valley real estate. And again, just has seen it develop through the years, and wealth of knowledge for folks to tap into.
Yeah.
And we've got a few alumni too that they have kind of stepped down, but they are still, we feel part of our family. Max Gates worked with us for years after a full career in the U.S. Forest Service as a ranger, and then he did another full career with us here. And Max and Winona, just pillars of the Rabun County, and we appreciate them so much too. Yeah. Tom Stanfield. Boy, again, I'm afraid to leave somebody out, but we got a great group of alumni too.
Absolutely. One final question for you. A lot of people ask, what are the market conditions for real estate now, especially in Rabun County, and maybe looking into 2021. A lot of us are anxious to put 2020 behind us for other reasons. Yeah. But what's 21 hold in store?
Looks real strong for Rabun County. There's a great desire to be, in the country. I heard one real estate analyst describe it as decentralization. People like space, and we're now at a time in history because of technology that folks don't have to be right by or within a few miles of where they work, and they can work remotely. I think every now and then, how would this have happened? What would this been like without technology? This COVID situation, because schools survived online, businesses survived online, a lot of them did, and it was very difficult and still is difficult for certain types of businesses, and I acknowledge that. And hats off to them who have worked hard to adapt and make a way through this tough time to reach their customers, and I think of food service and motels and things like that, travel, but people are adapting, but people do want to come out in the country, and I think I heard that instead of people moving just, within 15, 20 minutes, people are wanting to move maybe 2 hours. And we have a huge population base there in Atlanta, and that's not the only thing, but that would love to be in the mountains, and we're seeing them want to come here. They always have, like us, my family, the dream was to get to the mountains. And
us too.
I love, that's part of the fun of this business, biggest fun of this business, is see people who say, man, we've been wanting to do this a long time, and now we finally worked it out to get our place in the mountains. Yeah. That's one segment of the market. Of course, we have our folks that are here now and our families that have grown up in generations. It's great that they can stay here. That's important, that they can stay here. Absolutely. In the mountains. But now, people have had that dream, and they may put it off a few years, have put it off in the past. And I think one thing COVID did was a catalyst to say, let's don't wait, let's do it. And so here they have come. So Rabun County has so many things, the people, as I was talking about, the infrastructure is improving. As far as, we have great highway access. That's one thing that set Rabun County ahead of the western counties of North Georgia years ago, was 441. Of course, those, the I-75, 570, connection over there 15, 20 years ago helped beef that area up, grow it some. But we had it long ago. We're the main route from Florida to the Smokies. Mm-hmm. And so that's been a great artery or blood vessel of, business for Rabun County. But the folks are wanting to be here. There's a way most time to, and it's going to get better, to work from home. But key to our county are the schools. We have 2 great private schools and a fantastic public school system. It's one of the most desired in the state by teachers and people moving here. Yeah. So see, all the things that you need for your family, are here. And then I don't want to ramble on forever, but folks who have already went through the age of the time of their life of raising children, and they say, what are we going to do when we get here? There's plenty to do. And I find that people who move here after retirement, that it's not long till they're plugged in, and they are very active and enjoying other people and of like interests and causes. And another thing we benefit from in Rabun County, because for more than 100 years this has been a second home area, and people eventually move into the county and become permanent. Mm-hmm. They have come from all over and from all kinds of jobs, backgrounds, services, and things like that. And they come here and bring those talents and skills and experiences with them. I mean, this the melting pot of, or the wealth of knowledge and experience and that comes into our county and is takes action is incredible. I mean, it's an amazing place, it really is.
I agree very much. Thank you for spending a little bit of time with us this morning. We appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, this is great.
Scott is a key benefactor of the Park Bench Rabun County website, and so I want to thank you for your support for that. And if there are other businesses out there that are interested in being interviewed, please get in touch with me or Laura, and we'd be happy to come out and showcase the business, your organization. That includes churches and civic organizations, government offices, and things like that. So with that, I'll say farewell for the day, and thank you again, Scott.
You're welcome. Thank you.